What's going on, people? Welcome to the channel. Thank you for clicking on the video, and today we're going to be talking about Killers of the Flower Moon. When it comes to Scorsese, other than this one, I've only seen one of his films, and that would be The Wolf of Wall Street, which is honestly one of my favorite movies of all time. At a point, it actually was my favorite movie of all time, and it's still hanging out there in my top 5 or something like that. Why that alone didn't motivate me to go watch Scorsese movies, I don't know. I'm young, you know what I mean? Like, that's all I can really say. I didn't really grow up on movies like that. I was mostly watching animation and superhero stuff. So this is new to me, and this was my first Scorsese film in theaters, not The Wolf of Wall Street, but Killers of the Flower Moon. And I can definitely say it was an experience. So basically, this movie details the story of what actually happened to the Osage people in the early 1900s. They found oil on their land, which essentially made them like the richest people in the whole country. And as you could probably expect, a whole bunch of white people came in and was like, yo, we want a piece of that pie. So they start plotting and scheming on how to, basically steal this money from the Osage people. And yeah, it's terrible. The movie's not terrible. It's just what's happening is terrible. So this movie stars Lily Gladstone as Molly, Leonardo DiCaprio as Ernest, and Robert De Niro as William King Hale. And William King Hale is actually the uncle of Ernest. And basically, Uncle Hale is over here with these Osage people playing nice, playing like he's the friend. When in all reality, he's plotting and scheming on how to steal their money. And when Ernest comes back from the war, Hale pretty much brings him in to come help him plot and scheme to steal these people's money. So Ernest marries Molly. He marries into the family by marrying Molly. And throughout the film, Ernest and Hale conspire to have Molly's family killed off so that when Molly dies off, a majority of her money will come to Hale and Ernest. Okay, so when it comes to this movie, I'm kind of two minds. There's the filmmaker side of me, and then there's the, just regular audience member side of me. From the filmmaking side, this movie is the best thing for any cinema fan, just from a filmmaking perspective. It's Martin Scorcese. While I may not be familiar with his films, I've heard about them for pretty much my whole life. And everything that you would expect from a master filmmaker is definitely on display here. First of all, the cinematography is absolutely gorgeous. If you get the opportunity to watch this on the big screen, I know it's probably going to be on either Paramount Plus, because that's who put it out, or Apple TV Plus, because that's who made it. So it's hard to tell these days with all these streaming services, but I think you really should go out to the theater and see this on a big screen. Regardless of however I personally feel about the film, it is a marvelous thing to experience on such a huge screen with such crazy sound. You definitely should check out the theater experience. I also dug the sound design. I thought the sound design was pretty good. The performances, of course, are incredible, and we'll get more into that when we talk about, more of my personal enjoyment of the story. But yeah, Lily Gladstone for me was the huge standout. Of course, Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro are going to be great. I mean, we've been here before, but it was Lily Gladstone because I don't think I've seen her in anything. I think this was my first time seeing her, and she was excellent. I thought she was absolutely great in the film, and I wish there was more of her, but again, we'll get into it. This movie is long as shit, as you've probably heard. It's 3 hours and 20-something minutes. And did it need to be 3.5 hours? I would say no. But, for what it is, it does feel as huge as its runtime would imply. I think the dialogue is excellent. I think the set design is fantastic. The costume design is fantastic. And I think the script is very, very, very expertly written. You can tell that there are experienced hands working on this film. It never feels amateurish in any way, which why would it? It's Martin Scorsese. So from a pure filmmaker's perspective, and not that I'm a filmmaker, I should stop saying that, more from my critic side, I guess, looking at the movie just as a film and the way that it's made and constructed and edited and paced, I think it's fantastic. I think this movie passes with flying colors when it comes down to just the bare bones filmmaking aspect of it. My personal enjoyment of the film, it's not too high. I personally didn't really like this movie that much. And there were things about it that I really enjoyed, but for the most part, I did not really enjoy watching this movie. One big reason I mentioned earlier is Lily Gladstone's performance as Molly. Yes, I thought she was fantastic. I loved her. I wish there was more of her. Like, it doesn't feel like she's in the movie that much. You know, this movie wants to tackle these real events that happen to these Osage people. I feel like we don't spend a whole lot of time with the Osage people, though. I feel like we spend a lot of time with Leo and Robert, them plotting this whole scheme. And, you know, we spend a lot of time watching these Native Americans basically get slaughtered. And, you know, so many terrible things happen to these people. I mean, I'm talking about they get stabbed, they get poisoned, they get blown damn near to fucking smithereens. Actually, there's no damn near about it. They literally get blown to smithereens. We literally see a body part, like multiple body parts. And between all of these moments, I didn't feel a huge connection to the Osage people. I felt one. I'm not saying it was non-existent. I felt like it could have been stronger for the huge runtime that this movie is. I feel like we could have cut down on a lot of those moments with Leo and Robert and gave a lot more attention, not just to Lily's performance, but to those Osage people that all of this horrible shit happened to, and a little more to Molly and Ernest's relationship. I feel like we don't really watch their love or relationship blossom in any way. It kind of feels like they meet and Molly immediately is just like, this guy ain't shit. He's coming here to try to take our money. We know exactly what this guy is about. But they still get together? I just couldn't buy it. I really couldn't buy it. You know, Molly is portrayed to be this like really intelligent woman, this wise woman, and she's not gonna, you know, be falling for dumb shit. But so when you take her, I just don't see how she gets with somebody like Ernest, who's a dumbass, who's obviously just red flags all over this guy. It didn't really make sense to me. And you did get the hint that they did care about each other, and I actually appreciated that about the film as well. You really do feel that Ernest gives a fuck about his family. Like, he actually does love his wife, and he actually does love his kids. I just wish that there was a little bit more time dedicated to him and his family, rather than just dedicated to him and his other family, Robert De Niro, telling him to do evil shit. The other reason I didn't really enjoy this movie much is, like I said, we spend a lot of time watching these people just get horrible things done to them. And I don't know, for 3 hours, the situation is very dark and, you know, it's telling the true events of a dark moment in American history. American history, what moments aren't dark? I'm not going into it expecting there to be a whole bunch of comedic beats. I'm not expecting to be laughing or, you know, feeling overjoyed about anything. I went into it expecting it to be about as bleak and dramatic as it is. It just felt like for as long as it is, it just feels very hopeless after a while. And I just didn't really get the point. You know, by the time we got to the end, I was just like, okay, but why do we have to watch that for so long? There were definitely a lot of moments that I personally was out. It was almost like I was editing the movie while I was watching it. I was just like, you could have trimmed that. You could have trimmed that down. You could have cut that down. And I would have rather, not saying that I needed the movie to be shorter. It's just that if it's going to be this long, I'd rather put a little bit more focus into characters that actually have redeeming qualities to an extent. I would have liked to spend more time with this one Osage person, Henry. I thought he was interesting. You know, Henry's this big guy, and I think Henry's the one that actually owns the land. And please correct me in the comments if I'm getting any of this incorrect. I apologize. But you know, it's a long movie. It's hard for me to remember all the details. But yeah, basically Henry is this dude who's just he deals with melancholia, which basically means that he's just sad. Like, he's sad as fuck. And he's looking for something to relieve his sadness, and he's struggling with that. And I thought he was a very interesting character. I loved the way his actor was portraying him, and I just thought he was dope. I would have loved to spend more time with him, along with other characters like Molly's mother or Molly's sisters. I didn't really feel, as an audience member, a connection to these people. So when terrible things happen to some of these people, I felt it more from a sense of, damn, it sucks that this really happened, and not so much from a, damn, I didn't want that to happen to that character. Like, it just didn't connect on a deeper level for me. I don't want to sound like that I disliked the movie, because I didn't. Like, I truly did not dislike it. I see why everybody's raving. I see what everybody is losing their minds about. It is brilliantly made. It's beautifully filmed. It sounds incredible. The performances are crazy. The writing is amazing. The movie is grand. It feels epic. It feels cinematic. And for all of these reasons, I'm still going to give the film a very strong B+. It's just that when it comes to me and these reviews and how I feel about a film, I also have to include how I felt watching the film. And do I feel like this is something that I would want to watch again or something that I would want to show somebody? Not really. I really didn't, get a whole lot out of the film myself. So, I don't know. Maybe this is something I gotta get used to. Maybe I gotta watch the other Scorsese movies. Like maybe I gotta see Goodfellas and Taxi Driver. That's him, right? And some of these did he do The Departed? I think he did The Departed as well. Maybe I just need to watch those and maybe I just need to get used to his style before, jumping into his brand new movie. Maybe I'll watch this a little further down the line. Maybe if they drop it on Blu-ray and 4K, if it's for a good price on Black Friday, I might pick it up, and maybe if I watch it again, I'll enjoy it more. But as is, I think it's a great movie that I just didn't really love watching. So yeah, that's how I feel about Killers of the Flower Moon. But what do you guys think about it? Have you seen it? And what's your favorite Martin Scorsese movie? Even though I probably haven't seen it, I would still like to know. Hit me with a like, hit me with a subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.